Khmer is frightening and dark. That makes him appealing to women. Khmer goes against conventional attractiveness. Whoa, those muscles, but he's got a weird face. A characteristic that can only be delicately defined as loserism. The Acolyte has shown us what it's like to live in a
very woman-centered world.
Thirsty, basically.
As he begins to untie a belted knot from around his waist, she straightens up for a better look.
I murdered all of your friends. That's so hot. The last episode was about an evil man who kidnapped a woman after murdering all of her friends, and then took her to an abandoned island she can't escape from just to show her his helmet. This might be the most Hollywood show in Hollywood to have ever Hollywooded.
She's a powerful leader.
And the thing is, they love it. These are the kind of people that watch A Handmaid's Tale hoping it comes true.
My dear, you should learn to be admired in silence.
And while it used to be couched in, oh no, I just buy this dirty magazine for the articles, we are way past that now. We started with who is Manny Jacinto, that ridiculously hot Sith Lord. The Acolyte episode is Star Wars at its most sexy and deadly. Into the Acolyte is doing a different kind of fan service. It's not actually, it's just basic fan service.
He steps forward with the sunlight accentuating his taut muscles.
And it rocks, leading into the unapologetically horny part of the fandom, while expanding the lore in fascinating ways. Alyssa, the only thing expanding in that episode was his cock. And of course, throughout all of this, you're not supposed to criticize it. I mean, Star Wars' biggest problem is the fans, obviously. Written 2 days ago, please sir, don't take my adult X-rated Disney Plus show from me, the children's platform.
And they're gonna boycott Disney?
They already are.
Leslye Headland comes out and confirms it's not the fans, no. It's so clear what's going on between the two of them. The interviewer started asking, there's so many people that were picking up on Reylo parallels. Were you actually informed by the Reylos? And she's like, that was what planted the seed of this relationship. I can't imagine being a fan of the Acolyte, because every episode you just get kicked in the face and seem to love it.
There's a hot chick over there, I'm gonna go talk to it.
Half the articles last week were just, is Khmer a knight of Ren? Oh, when they appeared, they were playing Kylo's Ren's music. And Leslye Headland came out and said, well, there's definitely something to that, you'll find out later. They talk it as comfort, he must be a knight of Ren. No, he just takes his kit off, love.
He begins to undress, revealing a prominent scar on his well-toned back.
It turns out that the creators of the Acolyte really just want to fall in love with evil. This isn't about Ren, this is about them. And however bad you think it is, Oh, it gets worse. I mean, there are some things in articles that you just never see coming. Unlike between Quimsha, probably the worst shipping name of all time. Because when they're talking about the most, quite frankly, obvious scene in all of existence, how does it feel to hold one in your hands again? It's a tactile way of going, clearly, you miss it.
How does it feel? Feels good, doesn't it?
Gripping my shaft.
To hold one in your hand again.
You were a Jedi for a long time, love. You're not allowed to grip one in there, are you? You miss the feelings of it all, that it could restore your spiritual foundation. I mean, that's one terminology for it I've not heard before. Come here, love, let me restore your spiritual foundation. I'll restore your spiritual foundation to another dimension. But they say that whole scene had such fantastic symbolism to it. It's like she was holding his cock. Such fantastic symbolism, it was so deep.
I'm wondering if it's honorable to kill me like this.
That's not what she's wondering.
We were hunted.
I look for symbolism in everything. It's a blessing and a curse. And I'd like, it's there, baby.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Who are you, Austin Powers? Everybody's like, there's no fire in space. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you're looking at that. Because there are some themes in here that would upset you. Would that be the themes that you just have to get back in touch with your feelings? To a male-dominated audience.
This carpet is a person with feelings.
No, stay. Look at the fire in space. Don't think about the themes. Because there's intentionality behind the costume choice. Speaking about costumes and symbolism, I love how this ship plays into gender norms. You have this flowy outfit that Khmer has on, and Osha. I see people starting to pick up on that a little because he's so femme-coded. Yes, you can tell he's femme-coded by the fact that she keeps looking at his car. We just have her looking downwards at all times. And his clothes, and the fact that he's cooking for her. So cooking is femme-coded.
Based economy.
Best part of the interview. And he's very soft-spoken, yes. Wear hot clothes, cook, and shut up. Femme-coded.
So,
What do you think?
I think it's a beautiful lie.
Oh, but then you have her wearing the pants and being like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shank you. It's like, what? That's what you think a man is, right? Like I say, this is less based in reality. It's just a fantasy, isn't it? This is like, please, Handmaid's Tale me. Headland, it's so wildly intentional. I don't know what to say. Of course Quamir is a woman and that makes everyone fall for it. So what? Is that how you got around thirsting over him while your wife was in the room? Like, no, it's fine, love, it's fine. The dangly bits are imaginary. I'm definitely into you.
Leanne, Tony, check your two balls very carefully.
Because it's just there. It's so clear what's going on. It's just everybody patting themselves on the back. Look at us, we've ruined Star Wars. It's so clear. So anybody that's picking up on it, congrats. That entire planet didn't have water on it until Osha turned up and started opening her legs. I can only imagine that on this set, everyone needed extra wide chairs. Just as none of the women could physically keep their legs together. It's like, no, he's here, he's in the room. But again, with the dynamics of what he did in episode 5, yes, murdered all of her friends. And she's like, whoa. He does have meat and two veg though, doesn't he? Whoa. He cannot seem alpha male or intimidating. He can't seem like a bloke. After you've murdered somebody's friends, obviously, you can't be a man anymore. I just wouldn't work. So we have to see this other side of him. And he never let May see his face. Never let her see him without clothes. You know what I mean? The character design is very, very intentional. After you've gone and wiped out somebody's entire family, the only thing to do with it sensible is take your kit off. You're a disgusting human being. I'm not sure after all of that, you could say Star Wars' biggest problem is the fans. They're not the ones writing this crap.
Think about your groin area. Think about the bones.
The future of Star Wars should be focused on representation and inclusion. Why? Why should the future of Star Wars be focused on lowering their standards? If you include everybody, it means you have no standards. That's the entire point of exclusivity, to set a quality level that excludes everybody below the quality level. For instance, Leslye Headland, beneath the quality level. Basic level of Star Wars, keep out the Reylos. And people like this interviewer. I also love that scene because yes, it's unabashedly horny. On a children's platform, you have a lot of bare flesh in Star Wars, which is delightful, but that also brings a different layer to it because you're getting vulnerable. You're having nothing to hide. All of these different themes. This is literally, I buy the dirty mags for the articles. Oh, it's just showing us so much about his character when he gets his kit off and I could see the sunlight bouncing off his muscles.
Dropping his billowy-legged Hakama pants.
Let me try to talk about this without getting fired or murdered.
He steps forward with the sunlight accentuating his taut muscles.
Actually, is this interviewer the same person? No, this is Maggie Lovett, not Kendall Myers. Not that it really matters, they're basically all the same. That's why the quality has gone downhill, because the original Star Wars movie were a product of a different time. They told traditional tropes through a Eurocentric male lens, which is why they were good. Protagonists were almost always played as ultra-masculine tough guys, and supporting casts typically consisted of domestic female characters with problematic stereotypes, which is why it was good. But this article sees that no, those things have to change even if the audience doesn't like it, because we don't need them anymore. Instead, we need to change these ideas. We need to make it for me. I've always loved the moral high ground of a journalist who's going, no, all you are the problem. This $180 million series should just be made for me. Yeah. So take your kit off. As always, the problem with trying to take the moral high ground is the first stage is having morals. And you've described the morals which underpins the original series. Eurocentric and masculine. Then we see your morals. Please, sir, can you be evil so I can jump on your car? I mean, even by the show that you're defending, it goes basically, you should cook and shut up. Please release the video of this interview. It'll be amazing. I want to see how that line is delivered. Because the Acolyte proved what female fans, all 10 of them, knew all along. The powerful sex appeal of the dark side. They absolutely love a murderous criminal that will destroy their entire family. The new Sith Lord is another example of the franchise is at its best when told through the female gaze. I mean, you'll go bankrupt when you try, but you will produce a hell of a lot of filth as you're going there. That is something about that title, though. At least she's not pretending she's watching it for the articles. No, she just hoped the cameraman fell over so she could get a glimpse of his arse. She has to follow him out because he's gone behind a rock and she needs to keep his arse in view. The Goothy apothecary was in fact a Sith Lord. Brutally kills several Jedi, stabbing one, snapping necks. But what's equally surprising are the reactions to it. How attractive he is. Notice, they didn't like him as the apothecary. He was goofy then. But the moment he started killing people and snapping their necks, they're like, whoa! Someone fetch me a mop. I do think that's the best Acolyte advertisement I've ever seen. If they marketed it like that, it might actually get some viewers. I now understand what the Kylo Ren girlies were on. Yes, his dick. This is my Kylo Ren. This is my Adam Driver. This is why entertainment basically doesn't need to care about this target demographic at all. You don't make anything for them because it's just not required. This market is so shallow, so simple, so basic, so easy to please that if you chase it, you will destroy your entire industry. When all they wanted was just a hot guy in it, really. None of this is required. If this is the focus of your show, everything around it will be crap and you will have no other audience except these people. Entirely ignore them and you'll get those people watching anyway, because all they wanted was just a bloke that they could drip over after his smirking, nonchalant murdering of Jedi. Even people who hadn't even been tuning into the Acolyte, which is basically everybody, or weren't fans of Star Wars, which is this entire target demographic, suddenly expressed interest in the show. Yes, and they would watch for a few minutes and then stop.
Executed. Forced into hiding.
Do you think that'll make them the $180 million back? No? I suppose that's girl math for you. Like, is this guy just evil? Or are there more layers to use so that we can tell a story from a different... But no, he's just evil, and that's what you enjoy. No, he's got depth. He must have depth. Surely I can't be that shallow. Where are the articles? Dominate your destiny. Consume you it will. This accurately describes the dark side villains who are the series' most popular and lusted after characters. I suppose that when the company they have is cats and SSRIs, well, an evil Sith Lord is somebody who maybe he'll have low enough standards. He's got force powers. He can lift me up the stairs. The female gaze also filters the story, which is the problem. These are people that fall in love with the villain. That means that if it's filtering the story, we've instantly removed any kind of values, morals, masculinity from everything. It means you're going to make the villain the hero, because you can't comprehend morality, which is why you're attracted to evil, and the supporting characters through a lens contrary to the male gaze, which is a problem. As like all major franchises, it's a male-dominated audience. So given that your entire fan base is just blokes, why would you ever want to filter the story through a lens which is contrary to the actual lens of the audience? We're going to give you something our audience despises. It's not a bug. It's the intention, which is traditionally objectified women on the screen. Your entire article is doing that. The difference is that men like the traditional housewife, the nice, feminine, soft, child-rearing person who needs to be saved from evil. And you're just like, no, we love evil! And you consider them to be the problem in that scenario, do you? This is why everybody shouldn't be included. It is just the destruction of standards. This viewpoint should be actively excluded. It's not enough just to be neutral on this. You have to be actively anti this. I'd also like to point out that this article has the word gaze in it 19 times. Female gaze, 15 times. Cormier is ruthless and fights dirty. Not the only thing this journalist hopes that's dirty.
He begins to undress, revealing a prominent scar on his well-toned back.
In an extremely skilled move that dares challenge the audience's conception of what Force users can do, he splits his lightsaber into two separate sabers. How was that extremely skilled? He just pulled a hilt apart. That's got all the skill of unplugging a USB stick. As for dares challenges the audience's conceptions of what's possible, is literally, it breaks the law. It just breaks the law. This raw aggression, confidence, bordering on arrogant. The dark side is very, very human. No, it's evil, not human, you thirsty sow. And that makes it alluring. And the show knows it. It knows that its audience is evil. I think Hollywood has finally found its target demographic. Serial killers. Or rather, the wives of serial killers. While the episode Night was directed and written by men, the female gaze is nevertheless hard at work in this particular episode, filling it with evil. That's why it became such a big draw, was it? It got 10 viewers, yay! Especially for the female, practically overnight. Depicted physically attractive, wet, messy hair, showcasing ripped bare arm. She's gonna have a crisis in a minute.
Come.
Feels catered to the female, yes, specifically, all 10 of them. Anger, aggression, things that Yoda called seductive. He didn't mean like this. It is quite surprising. No, it's not surprising, is it? It's more interesting how the people that love to talk about layers and depth are really just so shallow. Can only ever perceive anything on the base layer, and it never goes beyond that. We have written all of this, which is basically just, oh my god, have you seen his muscles?
He steps forward with the sunlight accentuating his taut muscles.
Oh, I can't wait for this section. I'm a loser, baby.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Cormier is frightening and dark. That makes him appealing to women. because it implies he would accept their darkness as well. There's nothing dark about them. They're as shallow as a duck's backside with exactly one expression. They have the personality of a brick wall. Oh, they're so dark though, aren't they? I'm dark. What they have made in Osha and May is just an empty vessel for these viewers to project themselves into. So when he's going, oh, it's been so long since you've held one, isn't it? They're like, yes, it has actually.
How does it feel? Feels good, doesn't it?
That's why I've got 17 cats.
Sorry, I'm sad and lonely.
May wants to tap into her darker tendencies, which allows her to be more well-rounded and relatable character. May doesn't have a personality. Wait, the female gaze depicts Camille that goes against conventional attractiveness. Are you calling me ugly? That is the most weird compliment that you could... You might as well have just gone, he's got a weird face though, doesn't he? I mean, for those muscles, but he's got a weird face. A characteristic that can only be delicately defined as loserism. Bro, what is happening? This is a link. This is a link. Oh, this was written by Bread Infection. Right. Loserism is the practice of being a loser. Why did you feel the need to link that? Being bred is the act of being bred. We really are working of people with a lower stock than normal, aren't we? His hairstyle is reminiscent of emos that contrast the straight-laced machismo of alpha men, whose charm might see them mansplain and talk over... Well, yeah. Somebody's got to say something interesting. And look, it's either he explains everything to you, or you just don't know anything. And you end up writing articles like this. He's kind of pathetic looking. You've spent the entire article going, oh, please, somebody take him off the screen because I've just flooded Texas. And they're like, no, actually, though, he is pathetic. He's pathetic and conventionally ugly. But he's evil, and that's just what I go for. The way quiet guys who sit at the back of class wearing a hoodie over their heads are pathetic. This is very specific. Who hurt you? Yet at the same time, all the more intriguing for his mystery. Well, very easy. Some guy just puts a hood up and like, whoa, the mystery. And yet, he can be approachable. Kumir is smart and listens to women when they speak. These two things are mutually exclusive. Loserism is attractive. Is this your personal profile? You're gonna start listing your measurements and weight in a second. I didn't intend to go into this article this deeply, but I'm fascinated and wetting myself laughing, which actually makes me very similar to the author, just for different reasons, because they accept their seemingly humble identities. He's a Sith Lord. He defeated 8 Jedi without breaking a sweat, and you're like, he's ever so humble. Contrasting the typical male hero, who might have underlying insecurities that they project onto others. Are you just talking about yourself here? Who looks at Conan the Barbarian and go, whew, there is an insecure man. You watch Mission Impossible or Pierce Brosnan and Bond and go, yep, those are two very insecure individuals saving the world. How can one person have such a large head and such a tiny brain? Whereas Kumir, he's darker and has socially unexpectable traits. Is that what Osha was thinking as she stalked him?
As he begins to untie a belted knot from around his waist, she straightens up for a better look.
And then acted like a creepy lunatic who needs to be in prison when he was on the beach. Is that, oh, I just love that he's socially unacceptable. The predominantly male fans of the franchise, though, they claim that Kylo Ren's actions have been romanticized. I can't imagine that happening. It's not as if you've just written an entire article doing that for a different Sith Lord. Why? You saw his arms. This really is complete basic behavior here, which they say is an endorsement of the same behavior in real life, which you have been making an argument for the entire article. This frankly diminishes the intelligence of the series audience and their ability to discern the difference between reality and fiction. Are you telling me you wrote this article after falling for Jacinto so hard that you had to get your floorboards replaced? And you're like, I have that much of an instinctual reaction to him in a show? But in real life, no, I go for an entirely different bloke. I'm far more sensible then. Press X to doubt. The impact of the female gaze in The Acolyte is that it prioritizes the female perspective in a universe dominated by male-centered stories, which makes complete sense because it's got an almost exclusively male audience. They even says this has been loudly saturated by male fans, just like every other major IP in the entertainment industry. Not thinking about trends and logic though, probably doesn't have enough blood for both ends of her body at the moment anyway. Darth Vader just represents a father figure that many young men want to please. Are you insane? This is why you need men to write stories for men for the male audience, because it is literally impossible for the other side to even begin to comprehend the values of the other one. I have never heard that Luke is, he just wanted to please Darth Vader, but Dad, why have you cut my arm off? I got an A in maths. Meanwhile, Rey, her villain, was more equal and counterpart. Yes, that's why it didn't make any sense. Why on earth would he be her equal? In both trilogies, Luke and Rey must learn to accept the dark side, rather than push it away or what? I mean, I never saw episode 9, so I'm fully willing to believe that Rey is just an evil cow. But at no point did Luke embrace the dark side. It's literally antithetical to being a Jedi. In fact, it was more Krea's point that the Jedi kept losing people because the Jedi teachings seemed to be missing something. So because they were losing people, their things weren't whole, so she went to the dark side to try and find out what it was and whether there was some kind of mix that would be more holistic. So the story of pissing Luke. One thing remains true. Judging by the internet's response, I doubt she means the audience, by making the dark side something tempting, but also something one must accept to find balance. Why would you want balance? The dark side is evil. I think I should just be evil half the time. When you walk into a village, it's like a 50-50 coin toss whether they get wiped off the face of the planet, and you're like, yes, this is a good thing. The female gaze, which I'm assuming is she's blaming for her evil tendencies, propels the Acolyte and elevates the central thesis of Star Wars into how one must have balance between light and dark. This is a sentence where the more you understand what you've just said, the more evil you are. It's astonishing. We are in a position where the target demographic of the Acolyte will literally come down and defend pure evil and say that you should embrace it too, just because a hot bloke got his kit off. No wonder Leslye Headlands said she was dark-sided. They'll go along with anything. And when you talk to the director herself, those kind of things only get worse. Like, I asked you a year ago at the Star Wars celebration, are we getting enemies to lovers? And she just went, no. Like, there was definitely panic in your eyes. How does she know? But luckily, it wasn't recorded. Can you imagine being a showrunner and just being so awful at your job that you're so easily obviously, yeah, this is the only thing that you write. Now, if we had a bloke in, we could have had a variety of story, but apparently, no, we've just got to have her falling for evil now again. And then there's the Reylos stuff. Oh, it was because she was standing in front of her, showing himself in such a vulnerable place. Like when he got his kit off and she followed him and needed to be arrested. I didn't want Osha to try and turn him. Like, he straight up murdered people. Why would she be like, there's good in you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Instead, she was just like, please, sir, take me after I've just watched you murder all of my friends. She knows there's no good in him and just really enjoys getting evil inside her. That makes it way better, right? Hey, we can make each other worse. Laughs, because I've realized how stupid this story is, but I'm into it anyway. She's in extreme denial because she's not allowed to be angry, not allowed to be in pain, not allowed to feel like that. It's like, oh, so in other words, she's an adult. People always bang on about how they just can't have they're in control of their feelings. They're adults, not children. If you think that there's a problem with the Jedi because they're not emotional wrecks, you need to grow up. So when he's like, semantics, what he means is, why wouldn't you use what is obviously the part of you that needs to be explored the most? Your vagina. Do you want me to explore it for you? Why don't you feel one in your hands again? Clearly you miss it. And she literally goes, these little toys, they're adorable. Were the creatures merch? This is how obvious you are, Disney. Why do they keep showing us these ugly little cretins? Don't mean Osha. We get more of the little creatures and we promise they're not merch. I've just realised there's a little baby one. Yes, those are new. They're Neil Scanlon. And we wanted to have, like, we can't just say we wanted to have merch. Flora and fauna is so important in fleshing out the world she saved. Yeah, just gave a little character we can sell later. You didn't want to be like, those are rats. No, I was more like, they look more like tumors, like walking tumors. We wanted them to be kind of cute rats. Well, you failed there, didn't you? The fact that rats play into a certain fandom, Reylos are weird. Reylos called themselves rats. Oh my god. I was taking the piss. I didn't know. And they're just immediately like, these are ours. These are our cute little rats. They look at the most disgusting creature they can possibly find and go, that's Mr. Driver. No, that's one of them rat things. And then obviously we get people review bombed by bots and bad faith people on the internet. You know, that male-dominated fan base. Simply because the story is told from an entirely different lens, which is contradictory to the one the audience has, which inevitably results in conflicting morals and the like, why on earth are you falling for evil? You scum. And when values don't align between story and audience, it repulses the audience, and therefore everybody hates your story, and it comes across as bad writing because you're evil and they're not. Or you could just say, it's just bad faith people on the internet, because I've got that 75 IQ. There's obviously a lot of people tuning in to watch this, yes, so they can make YouTube videos about it. And they're creating things because they love this show so much. It is a good comedy. But are there any movements about review bombing? And they're like, oh yeah, we all know about that. Does anybody even take that seriously anymore? Maybe we should just do what Obai Chinoy says. You just don't care about the audience and you just drown out their opinion until you're done, get paid, and then leave. Now, it does make sense why you don't take it seriously. Suppose when you fall for evil, honesty really is your arch nemesis. I also think that my work in the past has been very word of mouth anyway. That'll definitely be a negative here. And behind the scenes, it's not concerning because it was expected. Yes, we knew we were making crap. We knew we were making something directly contradictory to the audience. We knew we were making it for us just because we were thirsting over the main actor and had to rewrite episodes just so we could make him get his kit off. Of course, the journalist has a clever rebuttal. You know, people are people. How can you be so clever and also so wise? But you really lucked out on this fan base because you have the Reylos. They're the people who care about vibes rather than morals. And then you have the High Republic fans. Yes, the 3 people who bought a comic who will meme themselves out of a tragic situation. The content. But this is my career high. I don't really know what I'm going to do after this. Stop taking on properties with an audience of blokes. I mean, you're clearly not equipped to be able to write for them. But their art is a vote of confidence that this is fitting into the world that I love so much. Which is really the problem, isn't it? You should have fitted it into the male-dominated audience's world, not yours and your wife's. Twitter just says, it's great that people are being seen and recognized because they're inadequate narcissists. But I know there's this feeling that there's some Machiavellian grand scheme. Nobody thinks you're clever enough to have a Machiavellian grand scheme. Nobody thinks you've got a big grand plan. They actually think you're just so basic that the only way you can write is your own personal taste. There is no grand strategy. It's just, this is me. I like me. I honestly think it's more boring than, as somebody who spent a lot of her experience not being seen in the world reflected by mainstream media, I'm just adhering to the old adage of write what you know. Wow. Write what you know. And what did you write? A man who kidnapped a woman after murdering all of her friends, took her to an abandoned island she can't escape from, just so he could show her his helmet. And her response was, whoa, that is hot. Leslye, I'll give you one thing. You definitely wrote what you knew. I think this will definitely break the internet. I think this whole interview might break the internet. I don't know about that, but I think that these kind of articles, in combination with stuff like the Salon degeneracy and Kotaku absolutely just losing their minds over this stuff, it may not break the internet, but it should break people's idea that, no, we just all want the same thing. That actually you can just write a story for a population. You don't have to target a group. Of course, men and women just all want the same thing and just all appreciate the same entertainment. Targeting one means that you have entirely different morals to targeting the other one. The Acolyte has proved it, and it proves the results you get when you specifically target one or the other. And it's why at no point will I be like, no, I just want neutral entertainment. That doesn't exist. Entertainment, stories at their core are based on values and traditions and beliefs. And they can be yours, or they can be somebody else's. They can praise evil, like your average Hollywood executive. And to me, that choice isn't even a choice at all. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.